Hey, it's 3 p.m., so on the East Coast at least. So you know what it's time for, Litvak Leadership Live. And I am here today with my special guest, Brian Wagner. Hi, Brian.
Hey, how are you, Sean?
I'm having a great day. Brian, I will tell you for all of our viewers' pleasure, Brian is the founder and CEO of radicalvision.com. And a Radical Vision, but his website is radicalvision.com. And Brian, I will let everyone know, was not necessarily supposed to be our immediate guest today, but due to a scheduling conflict, Brian was gracious enough when I reached out to him today and say, hey, you and I have never spoken, but we know some of the same people. How would you like to be my guest? And here he is. So Brian, thank you for your flexibility and your willingness to just show up and talk to someone you don't even know.
Hey, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Sean. I appreciate it. So, it's always great to be with other like-minded people, trying to do new things, trying to, push forward with some stuff that you're working on. And I want to be able, I'd love to be able to, make it so I can help you. So that's really what this is all about.
It's people helping people. So I gotta ask you, because I'm sure someone else is thinking with it. Brian goes by Brian with one eye, and we'll wait for the laughter, the nervous laughter probably from that. So, before you tell us your story, how did you come up with Brian with one eye, and besides the obvious, and how did it go over the first time you said it?
Well, I'll tell you, it was back when I was at my last corporate job. So it was more than 5 years ago, 4 years ago. And I walked into this customer of mine. I was an IT salesperson at the time. So with IT sales, you have the sales guy, but you also have a smart guy.
Right.
So I brought the smart guy with me, and we walked up to the guard shack and said, I want to check in to meet with so-and-so. And we have a meeting set up at this time. And the lady said, okay. She put her head down. She started making out a name tag for me. And she said, well, Brian, how do you spell that? And she didn't look her head up at all. So she said, I said, well, my name's Brian. And that's with one eye. And she didn't think it was that funny because she didn't look up. She didn't look at me. But this guy, smart guy next to me, he busted a gut. I thought he was going to pee his pants because he loved it so much. So that's where it really started was Brian with one eye, is that whole encounter with a customer of mine.
That is definitely self-effacing and certainly takes the pressure off of people. So tell us the story, but not for the full half hour, because there's other more interesting questions, I'm sure. As to, I saw on your LinkedIn profile, it doesn't really talk about it on your website. You had a childhood disease, and that's what led to the blindness in one eye?
Yeah, so, it really started when I was 10 years old, but you don't want to go back that far. Back in 1990, say 2011.
Okay.
That was when I had the last issue. It was when the cavernous malformation in my brainstem bled, and when that cavernous malformation, or a cav mal, if it was a shorter way of saying it, the cav mal bled and put pressure on the nerves and control my vision, and that's when both my eyelids went down. They couldn't lift them up unless I lifted them with a finger. So I lift them up with a finger, and you can see an eye in there. But my eyeballs don't get together, so they don't see well. So I had brain surgery back in 2011 in order for my eyes to really become open again. That was the whole idea. And then for them to be able to see again on a one parallel, one axis, if you will. So that was something of really importance at that time to get my sight back. But I had no idea what I was going to get back was actually vision instead. So my vision was to be able to help other people. And I help other people to embrace their own personal blindness to achieve a greater vision for their lives. That's what I do.
Got it. Okay, so when you reach out to folks, I mean, did you have you were working in a corporate job first, and then so what led to the genesis of starting a Radical Vision?
So when I had worked for companies like IBM and other companies that were similar to IBM. So when I was in IT sales, I just knew I wasn't in the right spot, especially after I had brain surgery, and it was could only see with one eye. I knew that I was in the wrong spot and I should be doing something else. I mean, and that's when I actually came back from having surgery because I flew to Phoenix to Arizona to have my surgery. I live in Ohio,
Mm-hmm.
and when I came back, things didn't get back to normal. I was thinking things were going to get back to normal once I got back from surgery. They didn't. So my idea at that time was, and the promise that I made a promise. It was a promise to God, and that if I can get my sight back, I want to be able to help other people. I wanted to be able to help other people with their struggles. I mean, and I had no idea what that meant. I didn't know if if I was going to need to be a certified consultant, or if there was something else that I should be doing. But I mean, how do you provide for your family? How do you get your kids through college? How do you do anything when you don't even know how to do that? So that's where the whole genesis for a Radical Vision came from. Sorry, excuse me.
No, you're fine. That's why I keep a glass of water here too.
So yeah, that's where the genesis for a Radical Vision came from.
All right. So you work with individuals, or do you work with companies? Tell us a little bit about some of your clients and what you do with them.
I work with some clients, coaching clients, and those are clients that I have that are looking for something better to do with their lives, for more purposeful.
Mm-hmm. So kind of like a life coach.
Yeah, something like that. So really allowing other people to experience what I've experienced, to see what I see, and that's the title of my speech is, if you can see what I see. So in this conversation that I have with people that I'm coaching, or that I'm having the speeches that go out to, so I'm a speaker, and as a speaker, you get in front of several hundred people at a time, and you tell them about your experience, and then there's people that have some interest in talking further. Possibly they want to know more about what I went through. So I have a book. The book is based on my story of having brain surgery. At the age of 43, I lost my eyesight. The title of the book is "Sometimes It Does Take a Brain Surgery." So that has served me well. Actually, here's a copy of it. Sometimes it does take a brain surgeon, and that is really the start and the genesis for all things that I've been doing. Is the brain surgery and my story of losing my eyesight. So, I'm not sure exactly what your question was, but I think I've answered it.
All right. So how do you help people locate their why? Because it seems as though, and I've heard a pastor preach this before, there's a lot of pastors who should be plumbers, and there's a lot of plumbers who should be pastors.
Yeah.
And it's all because people don't know what their why is. So how do you help people locate their why?
Well, so that comes from looking at your blind spots, and blind spots are those things that are preventing you from seeing what you should be seeing. So that why is one of those things you should be seeing.
And did you say look at your life box? Maybe I misheard you.
I'm sorry.
You said people need to look at their what?
Oh, blind spots.
Blind spots. Sorry, I thought you said life box, and I'm like, what's a life box? Okay, blind spots. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So blind spots. Blind spots are those things that are preventing you from seeing what you should be seeing. So if you can understand what those things are, that's one thing. But really, you want to go back a step farther and look at what it is that you are not achieving that you want to be achieving. So, is it a new vacation? Is it a much better relationship with your spouse? Is it a much better relationship with your kids? What is it that you're looking for that you're not getting to? And you got to understand why that is. So if you can understand why that is, go take a step back and understand why that is. Then you're going to be able to understand that there's something else out there that you should be experiencing that you're not. You're not being real with yourself. And that's really where it starts, is being real with yourself and understanding who you are. If you can understand who you are, then you understand those blind spots.
Got it. So how do you help people change their thinking process?
How do I help people change their thinking process? Well,
so they can identify the blind spot.
Yeah. First of all, they've got to want to help. They've got to be willing to change their thought process. But the big thing is you can't identify your blind spots on your own.
Okay.
It wouldn't be considered blind spots. So that to me is something that's very important, is to have other people with them, truth tellers that they would listen to, that they would take ideas from, and they'll implement them into their lives. But these truth tellers can't be people that just love them and gush on them. They've got to be people that are in their inner circle, but still able to give them hard news, hard facts about what's not going the way that they want it to go.
So myself and other people have referred to that, if I understand what you're talking about, as, say, a circle of influence, people that you can bounce ideas off also, and at the same time will look at you and say, bullshit. Right. I don't believe what you're saying. So, I mean, we are all, some have said, because I don't want to paint with too broad a brush, that we are the average of the 5 people that we surround ourselves with. So do you advise people to cut ties with individuals if, they're not going to support them and where they want to go? What about the negative people in your life?
Well, yeah, to a certain extent, I would agree with that, the cutting ties, but that doesn't go for everybody. I mean, there are people that are in my life that have invested a lot of time, effort, love, money, everything with me. So I'm not going to say that those people are, discommunicated from my life, excommunicated. Right. I'm not going to do that. So, I think it's all in within reason that you would do that. So having those 5 people that most influence your life, I totally agree with it. Look at what you get, look at what you're getting, and understand that you're probably the average of those 5 people. Well, if one of those 5 people is dragging you down, then sure, you'd like to be able to get away from them. You'd like to be able to do something else. You'd like to be able to have a different experience, but at the same time, you don't need to just cut them off.
Mm-hmm. So how does someone, in your opinion, if they have someone that is, continuously feeding them negative or saying, you can't do that, how do you deal with that?
Well, there's 2 ways. Okay. One, you can cut them off. Not cut them off, but see them less, call them less, socialize with them less, just not cut them off. Right. Or 2, you can just show them that you can do that. You can have success with this. So, the whole show me attitude. And that is something that I've been doing over the last few years is improving my skill at doing the action that I say I'm going to take, and making sure that it's known that, yeah, even though you didn't think I could do this, I kind of did.
Got it. So Kenny Mayberry from Annie's Pizza wants to know if you've reached your goal of 100 followers, subscribers on YouTube yet.
I am now at 140.
You're at 100. Yeah. And where were you the beginning of last week?
I was at 55.
55. So how did you add 95 subscribers in a week? inquiring minds want to know?
Well,
A
there's
lot of YouTubers on here.
yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of different ways that I did it. It wasn't just one specific way. You know, I had a speech that I gave when it was on Wednesday, and I had probably I don't know how many signed up from that. Not very many, 5 or 10. You know, signed up from that. I reached out to my LinkedIn profile, really my users, you know, my base. I posted on LinkedIn, you know, that my challenge of what I'm trying to do. I did the same thing on Facebook with a call to my users that I was trying to do. You know, I had a lot of people that were I shouldn't say that, no, because that really came from my membership site. So I have a membership site that I'm also working on building the membership to as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's just been a lot of different ways that it's come about, and it's all been focused and, you know, concerted effort. So I've not made any subscribers by mistake. They've all been intentional. That's how I've gotten there. And
that's phenomenal. I mean, you know, everything is in steps, and to add that many subscribers in a week, I think is impressive. I'm not quite at 100 subscribers yet, but I'm sure I will be, just because you are here today, because the people who have come to see you here, let me change the banner so they know where to go to subscribe to Litvak Leadership on YouTube. It's pretty easy. It says so right there. So getting back to you and your consultancy. So I know that, you know, you want people to, find their blind spot. How do you help people understand what they really ultimately want? I mean, I've said that, you know, there's nothing wrong with making a lot of money, but I don't think it's about making a lot of money. It's about something else, whether it's helping people, whether it's about providing for your family. How do you help people make that leap from I want to be rich to, I'm assuming, you know, looking at your website, I want to help others?
Right. So for me, it's the best way of doing it is just peeling back the onion. Ask the question. Ask hard questions. Why? Why? Next question. Why? So just keep asking that same question over and over and over, and you'll get down to why. It sounds simple. It's not simple. It takes a lot of hard work to get there, but if you can understand why, then you're going to go farther. You're going to be able to achieve so much more, and that's what's so important about this.
Well, that sounds a lot like a safety technique. I'm OSHA 30 certified, and whenever there's an incident in safety, organizations that are truly safety focused will perform a 5 why exercise. And Johnny cut his finger. Well, why did Johnny cut his finger? Well, he wasn't wearing gloves. Well, why wasn't Johnny wearing gloves? Well, you know, and you keep going down, and usually after the 5th why, you get to the reason as to why something happened. So that makes great sense. Do you work with, I know you work with individuals and with companies. So give us some idea of the type and size of companies that you work with.
So the companies that I've been working with, actually I've been working with associations, and the associations are those that support groups that have intellectual and developmental disabilities. So IDD organizations all across the country. So I've been fortunate enough to speak to organizations from New Jersey to Oregon and down as far south as Austin. So, you know, it's been very, very humbling to get to share my story with them, and to be able to have, you know, that organization and the the organizations that they're made up of gravitate towards my message and get to know more about blind spots. So that's the kind of groups that I speak to.
So how do you define success?
How do I define success? Success for me comes from having 3 kids that are absolutely incredible, much better than I have ever been, and a beautiful wife that still lets me, come home at the end of the day. And actually, I work from home, so she allows me to work from home.
We all at this point, for the most part.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, that's how I define success, is the happiness and success of my family. So that's really what it's all about for me.
And so where do you want to take a radical vision? What is your radical vision for a radical vision?
Well, someday I would like to have a radical vision be and this is a long dream, a 10-year dream probably.
Okay.
I would like to have a radical vision be a place, a retreat, a spa, whatever you want to call it, a retreat area where I would say that people can come in order to be recharged, to understand that they have blind spots, and blind spots aren't always negative. So a lot of times we don't see things that are of value to us, the value that we have in the world, and what we can do. Because I know we're all awesome in our own certain way. We are all awesome, but we don't all know that. So that's part of what I want to have in this retreat center, is to help people to understand their awesomeness.
Okay. So where do you want this retreat center? Please tell me somewhere warm, because I can really get behind it then.
Not in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, that's cold and icy.
Right. No, so I have not thought of where to have it yet, but it's coming. I'm sure it's coming.
I like everywhere from like just a little bit south of Tampa, but definitely north of Miami. I want to go where it's warm, but I don't want to go where they're going to look at me and say, "Now, young man," there's that slice of life that I want to end up there. So
even Tampa's too cold, huh?
No, well, the frost line. So if you're in Tampa, I think it may frost there once every 100 years. If you go like 3 miles south, it doesn't. So it's pretty close. Tampa wouldn't be bad. So looking at the last, so you had your surgery, you said in 2011. Mm-hmm. So you're coming up on the 10-year anniversary of it. And it's Thanksgiving. What are you thankful for as to how you have leveraged what occurred?
Well, I mean, there's no question that I am making the best. I think I'm making the best out of my situation. I have a lot to be thankful for, that I'm still alive. That I'm still here to share my message with other people. I have a little bit of a slur in my voice because I recently just had another brain bleed. See, I had a brain bleed. So the brain bleed came from another cavernous malformation in my brainstem that bled and putting pressure on the nerves that control my mouth and my tongue. Okay. So I'm going through that right now. I'm just thankful that I can still share my message with you and your listeners. So that to me is, the biggest thanks that I could get. I want to continue to be here for my kids and to help them to, understand who I am and what makes me up. And, getting my message out to people like you is one of the things I'm thankful for.
Yeah, I'll tell you. You and I recently connected on LinkedIn and on Facebook, and I see your stuff popping up all the time. It's always there. You definitely have a very strong social media presence.
Good.
So ultimately, how long do you think when someone says, "Okay, I've got this goal," how much? And most people have jobs, and to reach a goal, they still need to stick with their job while they're building towards that goal. What am I trying to say here? How long should it take people to reach goals? which is a super loaded question.
Funny. How long should it take people to reach goals?
Yeah.
Well, it depends on what goals they're setting, for one.
Okay.
It depends on what the goal is. I mean, they have to be, the whole thing about goals is they have to be smart. And smart goals are specific, measurable, actionable. What is it? The R stands for retainable or something like that. Yeah. And T is for time sensitive. Time sensitive goals. So that is something that's important for us all to understand. The essence of a goal is not only having something of matter that you're doing with it, but also that you're doing it in a certain time frame. So the goal is to be time sensitive, and it just depends. It depends.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, and I think so many people expect to go from 0 to 100 quickly, as opposed to realizing that there's a process and they need to set up threshold goals along the way.
Mm-hmm.
How do you help people come to that understanding?
Okay, so that's where I talk about vision and how important it is to have a vision. Your vision is your long-term preferred state, your preferred future. And if you understand what your vision is, then you can set up those intermediate goals, those manageable milestones that you can set along the way in order to understand that this is where you're going and your goals are matching up. Your goals are aligned, and that's why I have the show called Vision Alignment. In Vision Alignment, I talk about how important it is to have your core beliefs, your core values aligned with your vision, and your vision and your goals will align to there as well. So that's really the main important thing with that is to understand those goals have to be in lockstep with your vision.
Awesome. So we're actually coming up on 30 minutes. It's amazing how fast the time goes by on every interview, just chock full of information. So Brian, as people are, leaving this interview and thinking, boy, Brian really spoke to me. This is what I am taking with me. What do you want them to take with you? Or from you?
I want them to know that they're awesome. Everybody is awesome. In your own way, you're awesome. And you need to understand that you are. So just embrace it. Embrace that. I mean, that may be your own personal blindness, because that's what we talk about. We talk about embracing your own personal blindness to achieve greater vision for your life. And to understand your awesomeness is sometimes a blindness. And if you can get over that, you can do everything.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people out there can struggle with realizing that they have something awesome within them. So many people can be down on themselves, and providing a message of that, everyone has awesomeness is frankly just a great thing to help people. Yeah,
I agree.
So that is our interview with Brian Wagner from A Radical Vision. You can reach Brian at aradicalvision.com, just like I've got up here. Brian, thank you so much again for joining us today here on Litvak Leadership Live, especially on short notice. I had you on my list of people I was going to reach out to, and when I got a cancellation, I was like, okay, who is going to be flexible? And your name just rose up in my spirit. So thank you very much for being here. I greatly appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
You bet. So that is Litvak Leadership Live for the day. We'll be back tomorrow with another interview. And everyone, it's Thanksgiving week. So, start working on your bird. Be blessed.
Thank you.